Hello folks, it's the 11th of November. That means the biggest sale of the year on AliExpress, and I've picked this up. Now, it should be here in 7 days, so in 7 days I'll let you have a wee look at it. It's a sexy black, presumably PVD coated, Cadisen Homage to the much loved and missed Seiko SKX, or maybe more accurately, Seiko's current Seiko 5 homage to the SKX. So it's a homage to a homage with a Seiko movement in it. But this homage has got a sapphire crystal, and this homage is 200 meters water resistant. So this homage is, on the face of it, better spec'd than the Seiko 5 sports model. Anyway, we'll just see how it is when it comes. Hello people, it's actually just 7 days after the 11/11 sale when I bought my watch, and it arrived this morning. So that's quite good, and it's an improvement on AliExpress's old delivery times. Now this isn't an actual unboxing because I've already had it out, as you'll see, but I'm just letting you see how it comes. White outer cover, actually all in a padded plastic sealed envelope. White outer cover, nothing special about that. Newish style Cadisen box. Haven't had one of these before. Quite nice, it's cardboard. Quite well put together. And a nice little display box if you're planning to give one of these things for Christmas or something. Anyway, bit of protection. Useless unsigned warranty card. Cleaning cloth. Instructions. And the watch itself, which I have taken out of the cellophane wrapping for you. Because I've had some feedback in the past that peeling stickers is not enthralling viewing. Anyway, this is the one that we went for. This watch is the Cadisen C-8220G, which is a sort of super stealthy version of Cadisen's SKX, or, well, Seiko 5 homage. And the corresponding model in the Seiko 5 sports range is the SRPD79. Now this differs from the SRPD79 in a number of ways. First of all, you get a sapphire crystal, which you don't get on the SRPD. You also get a Cyclops. Now whether that's a good addition or not is, well, pretty much in the eye of the beholder. But the Seiko 5, because it's one of the Seiko 5 range, has a day-date function and uses Seiko's 4R36 movement, which is basically analogous with an NH36. This watch has a date only and uses an NH35 movement, which, if you like, is Seiko's export version, the one that they sell to other watchmakers. But it's a very close relative of the 4R36 that's in here. Okay, the vital statistics of this watch. The lug to lug is 45mm. The case diameter is 40mm, although that depends on how you measure it. The thickness of the watch is 12.62mm, but obviously you have to add a couple of millimeters on for the double thickness of this Zulu strap, the nylon Zulu strap that it came fitted with. The watch weighs 70 grams. The watch head weighs 70 grams, but on the Zulu strap it's 97 grams. So with the strap fitted, weighs almost nothing, but the difference is a few grams, 27 grams difference. Now those dimensions I just quoted are a little bit smaller than the corresponding Seiko. The Seiko quotes a lug to lug of 46mm, a case diameter of 42.5, but they might be counting the crown guards here in the crown. I'm not sure how they measured it, So someone who has a Seiko should put the calipers on and tell us how it comes out. They also quote a thickness of 13.4mm opposed to the 12.62mm of the Cadisen. But they're very similar watches, very similar size and very similar appearance. My preference is for not having a day date function. So I actually prefer this with or without a Cyclops. I actually do like a Cyclops on a watch. I think it's quite nice, and I've always enjoyed it because it's always given me a sort of gadgety thrill. The watch itself, I'm going to take it off the Zulu strap to better let you see it. Now, 20mm lug width, and that's going to be important because I've had this watch on with the Zulu, and I find the Zulu with its big curvy rounded furniture just a little bit too thick. I find it a little bit ungainly and a bit ungraceful. So I'm going to be putting this on something else. Now, the something else could be a variety of things. I have silicone straps. I have NATO straps as opposed to Zulu. Interesting thing, difference between a NATO and a Zulu. You see this curved furniture? That's a Zulu strap. Whereas the sleeker, thinner metal furniture, that's a NATO strap. Although the construction of the strap material is just the same. A Zulu strap is basically a chunkier version of a NATO strap. So I've got silicone option, I've got other NATO options, and of course this will look smashing on, I think, dark leather. Maybe a black leather with white stitching, maybe dark brown, or even light tan leather, I think. Grey suede. Oh, grey suede would look lovely on this, or even grey silicone. Anyway, the watch itself, the unidirectional bezel has a nice satisfying click. Now that's a 120 click bezel. There is slight back play on it. Quite usual at this and even higher price points, I've got to say. That'll annoy some of the fidget spinner fans out there, but that's what you get. The bezel is unloomed. On these sort of stealthy grey indices and the handset, we have a blue loom, something like BGW9. This is what it looks like. Now, I haven't tested this yet overnight, so I don't know how it holds up through the night, but the initial glow from it's quite good. Legibility is fairly high. On the case back, we have a solid case back, whereas the Seiko watch has an exhibition case back. Now, these movements, well, they're not that pretty. If you like looking at an automatic movement, you might want to have a exhibition case back, but I don't think there's any great loss here, and it does help with, well, it's an extra area of possible failure with water resistance, etc. So I'm quite happy to not see an exhibition case back. The other watches in this range have the usual brushing and polishing on the steel case. It's a steel case here. I don't know whether this is a DLP or a PVD coating that's on it. Time will tell how well this stands up to wear. I would hate the idea of scratches showing through to the silver underneath. I understand that these coating techniques molecularly bond the coating onto the surface of the steel, so I have high hopes that it will remain durable, but we'll just have to wait and see. That's a time thing, and I'm certainly not going to take something to it to try and scrape it, because I'm quite excited to have a new watch, and I don't want to screw it up just for the sake of a video. Anyway, that's the case back. There's nothing really on the case back. It tells you what the model number is. It tells you it's 20 atmospheres water resistant. It tells you it's a Cadisen. It tells you it's an automatic, and it tells you it's stainless steel. There you go. On the actual dial, it has a commendable lack of text. We have Cadisen's name there on the dial. just printed and automatic underneath the pinion. With the Seiko 5 there is automatic in a similar typeface, and you've got the Seiko 5S type logo. Well, it's a stylised 5, but I always think it looks like an S there. The crown is signed with Cadisen's logo, which is quite a nice touch. The finishing on it is absolutely superb. There's a sort of matte finish, and there is brushing here, you can see on the top of the lugs. The brushing, the quality of the brushing is actually quite nice. How exactly that works, it's rounded. How exactly that works in connection with the coating, whether they brush it and then coat it, or whether they coat it and then brush it, I don't know. But anyway, there we go. So there you are, that's a look at the watch. Now I'm going to show you it on wrist with the supplied Zulu strap. So back in a mo. Hello folks, here we are back with it on the strap. Now I've been wearing this for a couple of days, so I can now tell you what I don't like about the watch, as well as its good points. First thing, like Ralphie Wiggum, I've been learnering, and I called this strap a Zulu strap because of these large curved pieces of hardware. Now I've researched this, and a traditional Zulu strap is a single strand of heavy duty nylon with these things on them. The origin of it is unclear, and the reason for these things is unclear, but what's on this watch is a sort of hybrid between a NATO and a Zulu. Basically it is a NATO strap with an extra loop and curved loops. And with this watch it does this. Now you can see what it does there. Problem with this is that this watch has an NH35 movement in it. Now that is quite a chunky monkey. Now when you combine this with the proportions of the narrow lug to lug, it makes it appear to stick out from the wrist quite a lot when you're lifting it a good 2 or 3 millimeters off your wrist with 2 layers of fairly heavy duty nylon. Now if this was a Zulu strap, there'd be 1 layer of heavy duty nylon under there, and it'd be correspondingly a bit lower. And I'm going to show you a hack in a minute. But anyway, as it stands, I've been wearing this for a couple of days, and these piss the hell out of me. I just can't get on with them. I also, sometimes I like an NATO, sometimes I don't. On this watch, it's not that fitting. So let me show you something else. Here is the watch in side profile, and you can see that the case back protruding below the case pushes upwards. These lugs don't come down far enough to negate that, and it sort of hovers above your wrist, which would be here. But NATO straps are much better on slimmer watches. Now you see this little Loris Lumibrite field watch, which I fitted a 18mm NATO to. Pain in the arse, it's not a 20mm lug width, but it sits nice and flat. And even though you still have the 2 layers of fabric, because the lugs come down further than the case back and the overall watch is slim, it looks like this on the wrist. Now here's the Loris on wrist. As you can see, the flat hardware gives a much smoother profile. There's only 1 of these here instead of 2 big loops, and it is sitting much closer and snugger on my wrist, and is altogether a sleeker and more comfortable fit. But you can ape that with this, and I'm about to show you how.
here I have a standard cheap NATO strap. First of all, we'll take off the Zulu hybrid, and you can see the difference. See 2 loops there instead of 1, big rounded profile instead of flat profile. Now if I put this on just like the black one, which suits it very well colour wise, you're still going to have 2 layers of fabric lifting the watch up off your wrist. And this watch, because of this profile, needs a help. So what you can do is you can use the turn the double pass NATO strap into a single pass strap. And what we do is, just like normal, thread the watch on the NATO, like so. Okay, and this bit normally threads through here. Now the purpose of this is that the watch on a NATO won't flop around on the strap on your wrist. Nowadays they tend to find that these fit quite well and the friction is enough to stop that sort of movement, but that's what the point of this is. So what do? Instead of wearing it in the traditional way, we take this out, thread that through there just as you normally do, then stick it on the wrist, yeah, pull that and then fasten it. Just as we normally would. So what we have now is it on a NATO strap, but it's a single pass NATO strap and it's not lifting it as high off the wrist. And I think this watch this way looks absolutely smashing. Now, there is another fault with this watch apart from its profile off the wrist on the supplied strap. Under this light it looks absolutely great, but as a wise and sage child of the 60s, I also have some unfortunate hangovers from that, and one of them is failing eyesight. I wear either contact lenses or contact lenses with reading glasses, or varifocal contact lenses, or combi or varifocal glasses, or things like that, and the legibility of this indoors in poor light isn't that great. Likewise, the loom I showed you earlier looks fantastic if you fully charge it with a torch or holding it to light, but it doesn't last the whole night long. So if you have older eyes, you might want to think about one of this watch's stablemates with a higher legibility index, like a more contrast between the indices and the handset and the face. But I mean, it's not as if it's invisible, and it's a style choice, so it's up to you guys.